Okay, good morning and welcome to our first product update of 2024. Thank you for taking the time to join our session today. My name is Sarah Bickerstaff and I am one of the support team here.
I'm Eleonora Drago. I am the product manager here at accessplanit.
Perfect. So today I'll be taking you through the new features and changes that are available in your accessplanit platform. And then Eleonora, or Elu, will be running us through what's coming in the product pipeline. If you have any questions throughout the session, please do pop them in the chat and we can answer those at the end. So as I mentioned, first we'll be going through all of the new features and functionality that have been added to your platform. And then Elu will be taking you through new features that are coming later in 2024. And at the end, we will be having a Q&A to answer any of your questions on what we have gone through today. So to kick us off, I'll be talking about our first feature, or one of the biggest features that we updated in 2024, and that is multi-factor authentication. Now, you may have seen a webinar already on this by our lovely Stuart. MFA is quickly becoming standard in software to protect your data. It introduces an additional layer of security. It then sends the code to your email, which then verifies that you are the person that's trying to log into the platform. So this can make it trickier for any user accounts to be compromised by phishing attacks, hackers, and even password leaks. So MFA is an additional feature that is available to our super administrators, and they can control this within the security options page in the administrator menu. When MFA is turned on, by default, this will apply to every training administrator, and you can add other user roles into this as well. So if you'd like to set up MFA and you're a little bit unsure, we do have a full guide on our help guide, and the support team, myself and my colleagues, are available to help you if you would like to set this up. So the next feature I'm going to be talking about is sending platform emails from your different company email addresses. So this is quite an exciting new feature that we've been working on for a while. So we can now send emails from the platform from your different email addresses that are within your company's domain. So you can see here, we've got our standard do not reply at trainingcompany.com. We can now change this to bookings or accounts or sales, for example. These same settings are available within workflows and also within your manually sent emails from the platform. So just a couple of things to note, I did touch on it. Everything after the @ symbol, your domain needs to be the same because that's whitelisted. And the actual email address, we highly recommend being a real mailbox, because this means that we can prevent the emails going to junk. It also means that your customers can reply directly to that email. So I've got a little video here to demonstrate that functionality and changing it within a workflow. So if you wanted, you could change every workflow to go out from your individual departments. Today, we're going to be looking at changing a booking workflow. So we navigate to our workflow template. We navigate to the workflow that we want to amend. And then we come into the actions of that workflow, edit the action. And here you will see our do not reply. And I'm going to change this to bookings. So that is bookings at documentation.co.uk. So now all emails from this workflow will send from bookings. Next up, we have the ability to share custom fields across modules. So this feature is already available for certain ones like user fields across delegates, but we have added this sharing functionality across a lot of our other custom fields. So custom fields allow you to store specific information against an item in accessplanit, like a delegate or a course date, for example, but it's not a standard field in the platform. So this update allows you to share those custom fields across different modules. So for example, in this one, we've got a course-based custom field that we're then going to share against delegates and placeholders. It could be something like lunch is available. You can then use that within your emails and workflows to communicate that information to your delegate, but you only have to tick that box or custom field at one area. So I'm going to be showing you now a little video of us sharing modules based on account custom fields. Play that now. So first we will come into the custom fields area within administration. Now this feature is available against all of your existing custom fields that you set up and any new ones. And we have an industry custom field against the account. And you can see the options there, energy, finance. And I'm going to share these with all 4 modules, which means I can then enter those into data grids, use them to filter, use them to report, and in emails. As you can see there, we've got the industry custom field showing. And now when I navigate into the delegates, I can expose that custom field against our delegates data grid. And you will see that custom field is prefixed with the module that it is saved against. So now I can report on which delegates have attended from which companies in a specific industry. I can then also filter on that. And again, as I mentioned, you can use this for reporting as well. So now I can see all of my delegates that are in accounts within the industry of technology. We can also add that into email templates and into the workflow rules. So you could set your booking confirmation to only send to users within the account industry of technology. So this is just one example that we're using today of account industry, but this is across all of the custom field modules. I would highly recommend having a little look in there and seeing what you can share, because the possibilities are almost endless. Okay. Next up is a small feature that we have added, small but powerful, in that you can now update the delegate status of e-learning plans and sessional courses based on their attendance on those courses. So if I was to attend a 3-day first aid at work course, which I did recently, my trainer would go in each day, say, yes, Sarah attended on day 1, she attended on day 2. And then when I'm attended on all 3 sessions, that can update my status on the head session, which can then trigger things like your certificates, your post-course surveys and such. So a very helpful addition. And you can see in the tick box there that you can enable this or leave it as it is already. Next up is a small feature again, is being able to filter the user's data grid by account group. So previously, if you wanted to see specific users within an account group, you had to do almost a filter within a filter. So I would have to look at the accounts and then what account groups they are in. So now we have enabled that on the user's data grid. So you can say the main account group ID is in, and that might be how you have set your account group structure up. So based in location, industry, etc. And you'll see all the users that are sitting within accounts in those account groups. Okay. So we're going to whiz through a couple more small features now. Next is being able to view the booking reference at the end of the checkout basket here. So we've now got the booking reference available. Your customers can then keep a record of this and quote that to you if they need to discuss their booking. That makes it easier for you to identify and for them to have a reference if they need to bring that to your attention. Next up is one of my favorites, is the ability to add your course description text into the checkout basket. So you can choose either aims, objectives, or summary for here, and that will be displayed in the further information step within the checkout basket. That text will then display within the more detailed section in there, along with your course image. This feature doesn't allow bolding or bullet points, so we do recommend keeping the text short and sharp for maximum impact within there. Next, to follow on from our other e-learning plan functionality, we've also updated the e-learning plan functionality in checkout, and we are now supported to book e-learning plans throughout the checkout basket. Another small one is the invoice address will now be copied over to new invoices when a delegate is transferred. So that means you don't now have to go in and manually update your invoice addresses. It will all be done within the transfer wizard, as you can see there, to keep your current billing address on your new invoice. Okay. And then next up is applying price schemes. So you now have the option to apply course template price schemes to make those changes across any future scheduled courses. So a great example of this, if you were to change a price scheme to, so you've increased your prices, so we are going to up price, we can do that, and that will then apply to all of our future courses. So if you've scheduled for 2024 and then you have a small price increase, we can do this on the template, and it avoids a lot of manual work. So I have a little video to demonstrate that now. So within course templates, you can open those on the price schemes section. And this applies to both creating new price scheme structures and updating existing ones. So I can update the cost, click apply to all future courses, and then save. And that means all of my scheduled courses now include that additional price scheme. Okay. Okay, so a roundup of some of the accessibility changes we have made in the platform. So overall, I think we've amended 29 things to be in line with our accessibility. So accessibility is hugely important to us at accessplanit to make sure that the platform is as inclusive and usable as possible for people with any additional requirements. Accessibility changes are not only for people that have long-term needs, such as those with blindness and dyslexia, but they are also a benefit to people who have temporary requirements. So things like RSI or people with different injuries or using unfamiliar devices. In this release, as I said, we've updated 29 different things, but here are some of the highlights. So we have replaced the register link in checkout with a nice big button. So it's a lot easier for your delegates to see where they can register if they've not booked with you before. We've amended a lot of our colors to have stronger contrast on the background. For example, the reset password policy, you can see that they're now in hyperlinks, new colors and underlines so they can align with accessibility requirements. So people who struggle with typing or spelling errors, we can now use autocomplete on certain fields within forms, for example, first name, last name, and email address. And you'll notice too that if you're using a screen reader, alt text is now available for your basket images. This will then help identify that there is a decorative image only and there's no call to action on there. Following along from this, we've also included some just general usability improvements. So in fields that we are unable to edit. Rather than them now being grayed out, they are just static within the platform that shows that you can't edit them. This allows the user to just see that more clearly and helps with clearer navigation. And in any of the fields that you can type, it now tells you that you can type to search, and that will bring you up a drop-down. Following on from our usability, to save a lot of time in the platform, you now no longer have to dismiss an OK pop-up with every save within the platform. Now you will see we've got save, saving, and saved with a little thumbs up a few seconds later. That will then revert to the original save option, and you can then press that as many times as you want to make further changes. Just stop the extra button clicks. And this save button will now move with you down the page. So no matter where you are on the form, you can easily press the save button and make sure you don't lose any of your changes. So the final feature I'm talking about today is our consolidate email feature. Now, this is a huge update to the platform. We are currently in the process of rolling this out to all of our customers. So if you don't have access to this yet, you will do by the end of the month. And because this is such a big feature, we're actually hosting a dedicated webinar for this on the 25th of June, and that is with my colleague Sean from the support desk. So he will be giving a full tour of how to use this feature. But to sum up, we are now able to consolidate emails that are going to the same email address. So for example, previously, if a booker had booked 10 delegates onto a course and we had a booking confirmation for that booker, they would get an individual booking confirmation for each. Now the platform can listen, it can see that there's going to be 10 emails going to that same email address, and it will consolidate those into one. So along with that, we've added some additional formatting that can make your emails reflect this as well. So a very exciting feature coming throughout this month. So please do join on Sean's webinar in June for that. So that is the end of my section here. So I'm just going to recap on what we have covered. So we've covered securing our logins with multi-factor authentication and how that works, sending platform emails from your different company email addresses like bookings, invoicing, etc. Sharing custom fields with other modules, which will help you report and filter. Updating our delegate statuses when they complete a sessional course or e-learning plan, again, to make that process a lot swifter and to remove some of the manual work there. Viewing all users in a specific account group on the user's data grid. Viewing the booking reference on the final page of checkout, so your delegates have a reference to bring to you if they need to discuss their booking. We also went through including our course descriptive text, so that was the aims, objectives, and summary in the checkout basket. Booking e-learning plans in checkout to follow on from our e-learning sessions. Taking an invoice address over to the new invoice when we're using our transfer wizard. Applying price schemes to all future courses, so you don't have to manually update all prices for any scheduled courses. A lot of accessibility updates, as I said, 29 of them. Some user interface updates to make the platform smoother and easier to navigate. And then finally, being able to send a single confirmation or consolidate those emails that are going to be going to one single address within a certain time frame. So now I'm going to hand over to Ellen, who's going to be taking us through the product roadmap.
Great. So thank you, Sarah. So Sarah's taken us through the things we have released, and what I'm going to be talking about is what we're working on in different stages of it's going to come out sooner, later, or later. So the idea with these webinars is we do them quarterly, and a person from the product team, usually it's going to be me, is going to be giving these updates on the roadmap. Where are we up to now with the things that we presented? So you can see how all the new cool stuff is moving through the pipeline. But before I go into that, there's a little bit I would like to share with you about how we're now working with our product roadmap. So we go back to the previous one. 1 minute, Sarah.
Sorry.
Sarah's been my very helpful assistant doing the clicking, doing the chatting. We're moving from a timeline roadmap, the one you see on the left. This one is a focus on features being out by a certain date. And in software, this is quite difficult because there's many times we come across unforeseen risks and impacts or resourcing. So it kind of sets you up for failure because it's very difficult to hit a specific date. Also, the focus on the timeline roadmap is on getting features out. Oh, we'll get so many features out, rather than thinking what problems are we solving. So that timeline roadmap is part of the past. We moved on to our new way of seeing the roadmap, which is called the now, next, later, which is kind of self-explanatory, where I'm going to go through a little explanation as a one-off. Then from the next update onwards, I don't have to explain all this thing again. So the now, next, later is more focused, is strategically aligned. So it goes alongside the strategy, is driven by the strategy, and is more outcome focused rather than output focused. And it thinks of the customer. It's customer centric because it's all planned around problems we want to resolve rather than features we want to add. And it's structured around 3 broad time horizons, like you see the now, next, later, and it's quite flexible, which I'll go through onto our next slide, Sarah. So the now things that are under active development. So the next is the things we're going to be working on next. So we are at a design and discovering stage. The specs are not fully finalized. The resources haven't been fully committed yet, but it's what's coming next. So it's not as defined as the now, but it's getting there. And the next stage after that, which is the later. Thank you, Sarah. The aspirations, the things, ideas that are taking shape, but they at this stage are a bit more broad and not so well defined. So if we move on to our next one. So the ideas move from the right to the left. So from the later to the next to the now, and as they move from the right to the left, get more defined, there's more thought about it, there's more, they're better defined, the specs start getting written, so that's how we move things through. But this doesn't mean that ideas that are, for example, on the next cannot revert to the later. So if we go to the next slide, on the later. So the later is stuff my northern accent is things, stuff that we are dreaming about. So at this stage, they're kind of fluffy. They're things we want to work on. And we're doing all the research stage, we're gathering information. We do have a later +1 and later +2, but those are not going to be shared. Because there are things that are on the back of our mind, we need to work on this. So they're even more fluffy, as you would say. So when the rocket goes from the dreaming, we're going on to the discovering, then all the initial pieces of research have been done. And we're like, yes, we're definitely going to work on this, starting taking more shape now. And when it gets more defined and we definitely think we want to do this, moves to our now, which is the well understood problems with defined solutions. And these are things we are doing. So they are under development at the moment. But as I said before, if we move to the next one, this is a little example of how the now, next, later is a dynamic roadmap. It's not set in stone. So for example, and this is made up, now we've got MFA. So say we were working now on MFA, then we had consolidated emails, then webhooks. Things can change. We might hit something unexpected on MFA. So MFA is like, oh, we didn't think about all these risks or all this impact. We need to put it back onto more research. So that might move back to later, and something that was on the later might move to the now. So the idea of this dynamic approach is that things don't get stuck. So instead of saying, no, MFA needs to be going out, and then we make the whole rest delayed, we just take it out and keep going through different things. So the fact that I am now going to share with you, well, in this presentation, I'm going to share with you what we're working on now, next, later. I just want to reinforce that this is not set in stone, because software is, we do encounter many unexpected things, and we are quite good at knowing, you know, because we've gone thoroughly through the stages. Hopefully this won't go set us back a lot, but it's a dynamic roadmap. So what are we working on? So the product focus is the product vision. So that's where it all comes from. Dave, our head of product, has got a vision of where does he want the product going? Who do we want to be? Who are we? Who do we want to be? Then the vision drives the strategy, and the strategy drives the roadmap. And as I said before, we're concentrating in problems and jobs to be done rather than on individual features. And our strategy's got two key themes that we're focusing in 2024. The first one is plan, manage, sell. So this is a big focus on what is core to accessplanit. So it's plan, manage, sell, making it strong, a big focus on automation and configuration to make your life easier, to be able to, for you to be able to do everything in accessplanit and being able to configure to your business needs, so we can help with more and more automation, and so there's less manual work. Things are simpler, easier, faster, and that's what we want. That's what you want if you use accessplanit too. So we're focusing on the three main areas: the scheduling, resourcing, reporting, then booking, automation, customer management, sales. All these areas are a big focus in 2024. And then the second focus area is connectivity. So I don't know how many of you were at our Connect customer event, but Dave, our head of product, shared the vision and the strategy and what we'll be working on. And I think he said that the average company works with 80 pieces of software, something like that. So what we are working on is connectivity. We know that most of our customers use different pieces of software, so we want to connect seamlessly with all those pieces of software, rather either by native integrations or, well, I'll share that a little bit more, but accessplanit being the hub, connecting and talking freely and seamlessly with all your other software, so there's no duplication. You have everything in one place. Things are smooth and they run lovely. The softwares love each other. They talk really nicely, and you don't have to be checking here, checking there, checking here, checking there. So that's where we're going. So this will increase efficiency, connect your stack, and make accessplanit the hub from where you talk to all the other systems. So that's the second bit of our strategy. And this is how we're going to do the connectivity. It's got 3 stages: integrate, connect, and build. So as I just mentioned just before, new connections and new integrations, like with off-the-shelf connectors. we are working in a big piece of work with APIs, which is our new approach to APIs. APIs is application programming interface, and it's a technology that allows two different pieces of software to talk. So what I was saying in the previous slide. So we want, and what we're working on is making our APIs very strong so that every module and every field could be picked up by an API and pushed onto another platform. So this, from the previous slides, for this seamless talking with other softwares. There's about 150 modules, there's thousands of fields, and we are working on this. It's a big thing. It's going to be massively impactful. So stay tuned for this one. And the third bit is webhooks. Webhooks are they send information real-time triggered by an event. We don't have this at the moment, but this opens a lot of doors for talking and interacting with other pieces of software. So it's kind of like workflows, but it sends information to the systems. And we're also working on having webhooks on every module, on every field. So the sky's our limit. This is a big thing. It's very, very exciting. So if we move on to the next slide, Sarah, please, my lovely assistant. So now probably what you're all waiting is that, right, yeah, stop with the blah, blah, blah. What are you doing now? So I'm going to go through what we're doing now. As I said, now, these are things that are under actual development at the moment. So there are more. I think this webinar could last 3 hours if I start telling you about every single one, but I'm just going to go through high level what we're working on now. And then what will happen is once this is released, you can come to the webinar where we explain every single thing in detail. So we're working on default start and end time in course templates. So you can set up your default start and end, and then when you schedule your courses, that will be that will go automatically there. We are closing the gap between the XML feeds and the API feeds. So we're adding fields to course dates, course templates, and venue API feeds. We're adding filters. So there's quite a bit of work going on APIs. So because the XMLs work, but APIs is more technology that is more modern. So that's what we're working on. Then improvement to placeholders. We are working on a dedicated data grid for placeholders. So you can go to your placeholders data grid and see them all there, manage them all from there. Additional merge fields in email templates for placeholders, and ability to trigger workflows based on course updates. So for example, if a venue has changed or if a date has changed and there was a placeholder booking, we'll be able to now send an email using a workflow. The next one, we're working on quite a few improvements to our checkout basket and additions. For example, prevent bookings by users with restricted access, ability to save the billing address, support for restrictions on discounts, usage limits, the nationality field being added to the registration form. So, for example, for customers who want to know who, depending on the nationality of the delegate, they need to send different communications. We can capture nationality now in the registration form and then make those workflows automatic to send the right communication depending on nationality. And along the same lines, we're adding functionality for restriction on age. So for some of our customers that have certain courses that cannot be booked by people that are less than 18 years of age, we have adding the functionality to put age restrictions in there on the bookings. So on the next one, we are working our Zinc integration. So Zinc is like a plugin. So we are improving certain things that didn't quite work so seamlessly. Accessibility, following on, am I going too fast, Sarah? Because I've got a lot to say. No, am I doing good?
I think I'm going too fast, sorry.
Okay, accessibility. Following on from what Sarah was sharing about accessibility, we are finishing all the accessibility medium and low priority in our learner portal, and our shopping basket is all done after this release. And check out, we're doing many medium and most of the lows. So hopefully we'll be able to say comfortably that we are 2.1 WCAG compliant after this. Some UX improvements in workflows. Have I got any more in there? Products and services including the cancellation wizard. I don't know for the people that use a cancellation wizard, if you and the people who have product and services as a module, if you don't want to explore it, get in touch with the CSM. So you'll be able to include your product and service in the cancellation wizard. At the moment, the cancellation cancels the delegate, and then you have to go and cancel the product and service that was associated to that separately. Now you'll be able to say, yes, I want to cancel this product within the wizard. So that's what we're working on now. And we're moving on to the next. I'm going to take a drink because I did a lot of speaking. So next, so we're keep on working on placeholders. We are tying up loose ends on placeholders and improving the cancellation and transfer wizards. Those of you who use the placeholder wizards, wait, one more back, please, Sarah. Thank you. Know that they don't quite fully flow, so we are working on tying those up. The next one is the audits that Sarah was showing us. Now you can go. I just put a screenshot on there because I thought by now you'll be fed up of listening to me talking. So let's put a little screenshot in there. So we're adding more modules and more fields to audits. And this is great to write who did this, when did this happen. So we're adding to all our audits, they created by, last updated and updated by. We're also adding a was and is, so you can easily see what has changed and what was, so as you can see there, was enabled, now is locked. So it's easier to see what the value was before and what the value is now. So some of our audits at the moment have it, but we're making this standard across the board. We're also adding a dynamic label. For example, go a little one back. Yeah, that where it says the name of this delegate Abdul, that is going to be dynamic. So when you right click, you'll be able to preview the user or go straight to Abdul. For example, if you don't want him to be locked, instead of having to go and navigate to find him and unlock him, you'll be able to go from here, a shortcut, or you'll be able to view him in the data grid. Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to go through the rest of the logbook. Custom fields. So we're adding more custom fields to lots of modules. So custom fields give the ability for you to configure and for you to add more information where you need it and not being restricted by the fields that are in the platform. So we're adding more custom fields to notes, tasks, meetings, files, opportunity items, discounts, fees, communications, product and services, a lot of modules. So I think this is great. You'll be able to see all those custom fields on data grids. You'll be able to, it'll open a lot of more functionality in your platform. Tasks, we are adding support on more modules for tasks. And also adding a subject, because at the moment task doesn't have a subject. And then for tasks and notes, and something I feel really excited about, which is the next one, is a multi-action, which means that you'll be able to add in mass tasks or notes with just the click of a button rather than going one by one. So if depending on whatever data grid you are, you'll be able to add a task to all these. use your filters. That will save a lot of time. The next one. A new API, I shared a bit about what we're talking when I talked about the strategy and the connectivity. So we are working, actively working on that. Time zones. These are some improvements onto time zones. We're going to add a field to record the time zone in courses and resources. And then this field can be displayed on the basket, in the learner portal, and in data grids. It won't make, this is a very important clarification, it won't put it it won't work out different time zones. It's just the field to say what time zone this is in. So it won't do humongous calculations. That is on the later. The next one, more accessibility. We are hoping to finish with all our accessibility things. UX menus, slight changes to the menus, moving some options that are not that used to the administration, the menu automatically, I can't think of the word now, shrinking. So rather than always being there, you'll be able to just leave the icons, and then when you hover, you'll be able to see what every icon is. So it gives you more space to work in your platform. But as I said, all these things you will see. So in the next product webinar, many of these would have moved to the now, so I'll share more about them. And the next one's my teaching will be adding the option to remove trainers from seeing the courses. No, the cost. No, hold on, I'll start again. We will be able to hide costs from trainers in the My Teaching. A lot of our customers don't want the trainers to see the costs. At the moment, they can. So we'll be adding functionality so you can choose, well, how they want. We got one more. Check out, more things to check out. Google Analytics. The next stage will be adding tracking for discounts on Google Analytics that we don't have at the moment, and some improvements to our Google Calendar integration. So that's all in the next. Now moving on swiftly onto the later. Remember, this is, I've talked, although ideas move from the right to the left, so from the later to the next to now, I've been sharing with you now, next, later. So this is a now later, in line with the strategy of connect, build, working on checkout APIs. So you will be able to build your own basket, working in an area called My Account. Then on to the next one. And also in line with Connect, but this part with Integrate will be working on integrations with HubSpot, Salesforce, MailChimp, Campaign Monitor, Zoom. We'll also be working on the calendar, and this one I think will make you feel excited. Roles and Roles Builder is something we are aware. All these things we're working on, I just want you to know that we do listen to what you say. So everything filters through to us in product, either from tickets from the help desk and support, people like Sarah, gives us feedback from the CSMs. I know Sarah stopped giving us feedback, but from the CSMs, when conversations they have with you, that comes to us from any product suggestion you would send, from any business reviews, the note, we read everything, we take everything into consideration for this roadmap. So just so you know, we don't just go on a one without thinking of you. All this is with you in mind. All this is to make your life easier and to make the platform stronger, to make it, to save you time, to all the things you can do with accessplanit and while you are with us. So we do listen to you. So roles, I know roles and role builders has been a big one. Reporting and dashboards also on the later stage. And I think that's it for now. Stay tuned. So stay tuned. As I said, on the next quarterly, we'll be giving updates every quarter, and we're working at the moment on putting this on the website. It's in a later stage to do this roadmap available on the website, so you don't have to remember everything I said. You'll be able to go somewhere and see where we're up to. Well, that is on the later stage, so hopefully it will happen. It needs to still take shape. And with that, I'll shut up and over to you, Sarah.
Well, thank you so much, Ellie. It's good. I'm very excited about some of the things in both next and later, and even later.